I want to say before you start watching this video that I hope it's not too grim, because the topic of this video is what motivated me to start recovery, and obviously when I started I was in quite a low place. I'm not anymore, so I don't go into any details, but just know that recovery is possible and it's possible to get out of that place. Also, I hope you enjoy some really lovely facial expressions. I was sitting in the sun and it's quite a lot of squinting, so that's nice. I'm just about to go out for a high tea now, and my sister is making a cake for my nana's birthday, which I'll show you in a second, and then I hope the video is helpful. Okay. So I have like 10 minutes before I have to go to volunteering, but I've been running out of time to record this video, and I really want to answer a question that I received. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm sitting outside this time because it's really nice outside. Hopefully the wind isn't too noisy. Let me show you actually what it looks like. Anyway, so the question that I received was about motivation and what motivated me to change, to eat more and actually commit to recovery. And I want to start this with a disclaimer that your motivation is going to wane, because recovery is really hard and sometimes you're not going to want to do it, you're going to want to turn back. And so that's why you have to make a commitment and keep going even when you have no motivation to do so. So I think I'll make another video on like maintaining motivation. But for this video I'll just talk about what got me to fully commit to recovery. So last year I would say I was probably in quasi recovery. December last year or January of this year, I fully committed. So there are a few things that I want to mention that got me to that point. And the first one is that I realized that the only options were to go for full recovery or to die, basically. I'd done quasi recovery and it sucked. I fooled myself that I was okay and that I could live it in that sort of half-life forever, but it was awful. And as soon as I moved away from home and got a bit more independence, I relapsed just like that. So quasi recovery isn't an option as far as I'm concerned. I relapsed to the worst that I'd ever been. It was really horrible. I don't need to go into the details of that. I couldn't go on that way. I couldn't keep living with anorexia, and would have rather died than continue living that way. But I also realised that death wasn't really an option either, because I couldn't do that to my family. So I had to go for recovery, basically. No matter how hard it was going to be, I had to give it my best shot. My second point, I guess, is that I figured life couldn't be any worse in recovery. Surely not. Like, living with an eating disorder sucks. And so I felt like I had nothing to lose at that point by going for recovery. I knew it was going to be really freaking hard, but it couldn't be harder than living with an eating disorder. Living with anorexia is really, really tough. It's really awful. Thirdly, I'd done a lot of research into recovery, and I'd been following Meg C Recovery, Tabitha Farrar, Emily Trosienko, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, for a while. They are recovered, or they're well on their way to recovery, and so they showed me that recovery is possible. So if they can do it, maybe it's possible that I could do it too. Following people who are fully recovered or are trying really, really hard to get to full recovery really helped me as well. Really motivated me. Yeah, my fourth point, so I've had anorexia for a long time. I know how to do anorexia, if that makes sense. Like, I know what that life is like. I don't really know what it's been a long time since I didn't have anorexia. I wanted to find out what full recovery was like. Maybe it would be totally unbearable to live in a bigger body, but there's only one way to find out. And anorexia will always be there. Like, if it is really, really unbearable, then I could always turn back. So I set myself like short-term goals. Like, I'll try full recovery for a month and see if life is any better. Life was better, so I've kept going. Set another goal, 3 months, 9 months, a year, and life keeps getting better. So I haven't turned back, and I don't want to turn back. Yeah, gaining weight, doing recovery, it's really hard, but it's absolutely worth it. And if you go all in and really eat a lot, commit to resting, commit to eating unrestricted, commit to losing the rituals, just to quote Tabitha Farah, you will start to see the benefits really quickly. Speak more on that in my next video, I think. Despite the hard days, there are really great days, and they become much more frequent the further you get into recovery. My final point is that I was really, really hungry. I had been starving myself for so long. I tried to outsmart my body, but my body is smarter than me. Biologically, I'm a biological organism. I'm an animal. Like, animals need food. You need food. I need food. And my brain was just going crazy, thinking about food all the time. All the time. I could not handle that anymore. And yeah, honestly, that was probably the main driver. Like, the thoughts of food, the indecision, the anxiety. I had to eat. And it took a while for that mental hunger to subside. And I still now I think about food too much, but way, way less than before. And it is such a relief. So yeah, those are the main things that motivated me initially to recover, but like I said, I found other ways to keep myself committed to recovery and to keep going, because it's really hard. So you have to have a whole lot of tools to keep yourself going, because I'm not perfect, so I'm not fully recovered yet, and definitely I've had setbacks, but for the most part I've really soldiered on. I just couldn't waste more of my life with anorexia. The past few years are literally a blur. I have gaps in my memory because all I was thinking about was food and exercise and weight, and I could never be present, and I feel like I've missed out on so much of my life just trying to be skinny, and it's not worth it. And I kind of figured, I got really sick, but I wasn't going to let myself die. Even though it didn't feel like it at the time, I didn't feel like I cared about myself enough to commit to recovery, but I wasn't going to die. It would have happened if it was going to happen. I cared about myself more than that. So recovery was inevitable, really, and I could keep putting it off, but what's the point? Might as well just go for it now. I realized that if I'm going to live for a long time, if I'm going to live till I'm 80, I want to make the most of that. I don't want to have wasted my life trying to be skinny, because when I'm 80 years old, I'm not going to care that I fit into a pair of skinny jeans. I'm not going to care that I have a thigh gap. Like, I'm going to care about the relationships that I've had, my career. If I have kids, that's another thing. Like, if I want to have kids, then I have to recover. And I also don't want to be 80 with a stooped back, because, like, I'm 23 and I have osteopenia, which is like the stage before osteoporosis, and that's really scary. So I really had to change, eat more, stop over-exercising, because otherwise I'm going to end up with like bone fractures and everything when I'm older. So yeah, that's what motivated me, and I'd be really interested to hear what motivated you to recover. If you want to comment, and of course, like, subscribe to these videos if you find them helpful, which I hope you do. And if you have suggestions for topics or questions, just let me know. I'm gonna go to volunteering now, running late, and I might film again to show what I'm having for dinner, because dinner tonight, my dad's cooking and it's always a bit challenging for me, but it's also really tasty. See you again soon. Thank you for watching, and keep fighting.